Anyone that grew up in the early 2000s got to experience the pinnacle of World War II shooters, from Medal of Honor, Call of Duty, Battlefield, and all of the lesser known ones that some of you probably hold near and dear. But of course, being young, I didn't have access to my own computer, and I couldn't browse the internet as I can now, which honestly was for the better, but it meant my scope of games was limited to what was on sale at EB Games, and whatever my dad's work friend would burn onto a sketchy CD, which meant when I was introduced to the tactical shooter genre, I was about 10 years late to the peak of Red Orchestra 2. Now, of course, you can still find a game with half people and half bots, but the grievance is really that I have to play with 300 ping, but the graphics, I mean, released in 2011, not AAA. If I showed it to my younger cousins, they'd laugh at it, but given this game is more popular with older people, it's really nothing to complain about. And quite frankly, I think it's aged really well, but when I'm playing it, I'm not being fascinated by the ray tracing or the hyper-realistic textures the same way I do when playing something like Cyberpunk. I find it's all about the feeling, the soundtrack, the way the game presents itself beyond graphics that make this game truly hellish, and something I would even say captures the brutality that made World at War the best Call of Duty. I will bring up some slight comparisons to other games that don't have certain features that I really appreciate in RO2, and don't take this as another old as gold, modern gaming is so over. I just want to highlight some things I never noticed in RO2 that I realized are missing in the newer games, and a lot of them made me realize that they were done really intelligently. Let me explain. The first point is the voice lines are visceral. Of course, don't make the mistake that I did in my last video by not turning on native voice lines, because being held up in a blown out building and hearing the Germans getting closer and closer is peak immersion. But there's so many other examples that actually make you feel bad for the soldier you control, but also the ones that you kill, in a way that humanizes them, because your own character will beg and plead for your comrades to help you out as you're suppressed. If you run for an extended period of time, your character will say he can't go on.
I can keep going! I know how to be a hero!
And this humanizes them, because if I was them, I would be bitching and moaning throughout the whole war, having to lug around an anti-tank rifle and being out of breath or simply getting shot at, which this game mimics excellently by giving you this black and white tunnel vision effect, which drastically reduces your peripheral vision and removes the color from your screen, which for me can actually make it harder to identify friend from foe because it can get so chaotic. And the thing is, it can also be triggered by looking at a dead body or bullets flying over your head, which is pretty cool. But the reason why I yapped on about the voice lines specifically is because it's omitted from these games. Why? Well, my theory is that since they rely more on voice chat communication, it's one less thing to clutter up voice comms. I'd hate being an SL and having to deal with someone blasting music over local, my own squad yapping about who has better feats, it's me, and the command squad playing the all-time tactical shooter classic, the Blame game, and then you add in Sergey over here bleeding out and crying for his mum. I can understand why these games didn't implement it, but I will say those games from an atmospheric perspective can feel a little lifeless because of it. Sure, you might watch your mate get blown up by an artillery shell and hell let loose, and he might not have a whole lot to say about it since he's just been essentially de-atomized into a pile of goop, but it goes to show you how valuable good voice acting can be. But the next thing is the use of the soundtrack, and it's done really well because it's not used constantly, but rather sparingly. This allows you to have those moments of silence to just look around and take in the world with the sounds of explosions, whether it's player or environmentally done. You can look around at the dilapidation and the anti-aircraft guns doing their own thing in the sky, giving off that feeling that while you're fighting in a small map, sometimes the same bloody map, but that's a separate criticism, but it gives off that big war vibes. But when the music can kick in, it can be low and not loud or overbearing, adding into the atmosphere, but it can kick in loud when a point has been taken, and it gives you this patriotic theme. And quite frankly, I've wasted too much time writing this script and revising it, but something pinged in my head that I need to share is that Red Orchestra 2's soundtrack is pretty smart, because at the end of the battle, I feel temporary relief, like thank God it's finally over, but it doesn't make me feel like sinking a couple of pints and jubilation like in Hell Let Loose, where singing Hitler Has One Ball or Over There or Erica, famous songs, great songs, but that gives me jump up and down and celebrate feelings, whereas Red Orchestra 2 is focused on the Eastern Front. It couldn't get any more closer to hell at any point in history if you tried, and I just love how the soundtrack correlates to that feeling. Also, fun fact, the guy that composed RO2 soundtrack also did Mass Effect 3, so thought you should know. But the color difference between RO2 and modern World War II shooters is that RO2 is dull. It's not bright or blinding and really makes it feel like you're playing in a dirt field, whereas in Hell Let Loose at certain points it feels like the game's too bright and shiny. Of course, when it wants to turn up the grit with darker colors, it absolutely can. And this leads me to my next comparison, which is to Rising Storm 2 Vietnam. I always scratched my head why people with 1,000 hours in RO2 would say RS2 doesn't live up and it's not as good. I kind of understand where the Red Orchestra fan club is coming from, and I imagine people that played the original Unreal Engine mod or Unreal Tournament mod, I think that's what it was, and they say, oh, like Red Orchestra 1 sucks, and then, you know, when Red Orchestra 2 releases, Red Orchestra 1 fanboys will say the same. It happens with every single game, it's just a common thing. But going back to our comparison, for starters, the movement. RS2 is faster paced, with unlimited full sprint, weapons handle much easier, both semi and full auto weapons are just much easier to control. RS2 also made the boxed aiming system optional, which I personally prefer because I still struggle to adjust to it in RO2. However, this is a feature that so many people have begged for 83 to implement, and it was a major point of feedback that I do hope they implement for those people. But another thing I noticed is the majority of weapons being bolt action rifles that fire big rounds. I almost never needed to bandage myself in RO2 because I would always be one-shotted. In contrast to RS2, where I feel like I would get sprayed down by an SMG or get shot in the arms and legs multiple times, and that I need to spend more time in a bush fixing myself up to be good as new. Speaking of the SMGs, I don't like to use them because the recoil is just much more intense in RO2, and I'd say less effective at medium to long range compared to these semi-automatic weapons, where you just have to land one well-placed shot to get the job done. And it kind of did give me a heightened sense of fear, knowing that if I risk running from one building to another where I have to go across a road, then all it takes is one well-placed shot to the torso, and then I'll lose all my momentum running, or it'll just outright kill me. And I feel like it amplifies the fragility of the human body a little more, hence making the game just more hardcore compared to RS2. But like, I mean, of course, at the end of the day, I'm not saying RS2 is better than RO2. I just prefer RS2 because it's what I'm more familiar with. It introduced me to the tactical shooter genre, and it, like I said, it just does not feel as hardcore as RO2, which is just better for me personally. But the comparisons I made in this video could easily come off as old as gold, but that really wasn't my intended purpose. I just wanted to show appreciation to some older games and how they used the technology and talent they had at the time to make something that is a timeless classic in my opinion. But this is also why I want to show you some gameplay I hope you enjoy. Now, honestly, half the time I This destructible environments? Since when? Probably since release. That's such a stupid question, but okay, he's just standing there menacingly. Jesus, it's eerie. I love the music. I completely neglected the fact that there's vehicles, like half tracks. I knew there were tanks, of course, but I didn't know there were half tracks. And this isn't a modded map. This is vanilla. I did not know this. Oh my god, I think I see enemies running. Oh my goodness, there's a lot of them. Nicked him. Okay, I'm just gonna edit this out. Got him. I love how the music, like, it's not like invigorating or like, you know, pumping you up. It's slow, it's depressing, it's sad. Oh man, the sniping feels bloody good. If I can hit anything, I imagine it'll be even better. I love that. I remember hearing from the 83 devs, I can't remember if it was RO2, RS2, might have been, I mean not RS2, might have been RS1. where they got a guy to run up and down the stairs and then scream his fucking lungs out to the point where like he was losing his vocal cords. That's fucking dedication from the guy that was screaming to his heart's content. Now with 380 ping, using a sniper rifle is not the smartest thing. And Squad 44, it's a good game. I would never say it's like a trash game. It has bugs, it has issues, but to say I didn't get my money's worth from it is a lie. Please be a real person that I just killed. I did, at level 15. Oh my god, oh my god, oh my god. Got him. I like how when you level up something, it's like, yeah, like good on you. The music picks up. They were smart. Nope. Nope, I'm not here. Oh, this guy's zigzagging. He's a real person. God, you can just hear the desperation in their voices. Oh wait, the point's all the way back there. Shit. And I'm in the hot zone. I mean, okay, yeah, he's dead. Running around like a headless chicken here. Alright, we got the point. Now I can run over. Ooh, they got a Hetzer. Oh my god, it's the box aiming and the lag that just makes it bloody hard to hit anything. And it's definitely slower paced. If this was like RS2, I'd be fucking running and jumping around like a madman. Oh shit, that's bad, that's bad. And the vehicle's adding the challenge. Alright, crash, do not peek that. Wait, if we got smokes, do I have smokes? I don't know what this is. Alright, good luck everybody. Oh, that's a no, probably don't. This, this is not good. That was not good either. Oh, I'm gonna get cancelled for that. Alright, I see a vehicle over there. Let's try and get posted up here. How do I crash again? That's right. I'm gonna get that bloody tank. Teach him a lesson. Now, mind you, I don't know what I'm doing. The turret is where the gunner is. And the machine gun port is where the machine gunner is. This lag. There's no point even like, you know, creating an Australian server because I got lucky being born in this country. But on the other hand, to do tactical shooter YouTube videos, it is the worst country. Or maybe South America or South Africa might have been worse, but you know, it could always be worse actually now that I think about it. But Australia is just a terrible place to play tactical shooters. Even though the people that do play them are good quality, I'd say. It's just that there's not a lot of them. And it can make playing older games like this like a prick to play. But I got that. I got him. Got revenge on him as well in the head. Alright. Alright, if you can... I don't have a piss... You know, if I'm going down, I'm taking you with me. I'm taking you with me. Okay, I probably had enough time to reload. Oh, I got him! I got him with the grenade! I got him with the grenade! Oh my god. I can't believe that worked. The thing is, I was gonna kill myself. I was gonna run out and hit him with it, but he stunned me by shooting me, and I was able to get the grenade on him. Oh my god. Oh fuck, this game is fun, man. It's fun. But I'll end it there. Please check out the video that is on screen because I know you'll enjoy it. Leave a comment and a like, it greatly helps me out.